All right, so breaking news coming in. Prime Minister Modi has departed from China following his two-day visit for the SCO Summit, wherein he had key bilaterals, including one with China as well, and with Russia as well. Well, we'll continue to talk about this and a lot more. Mr. Manish Gupta, market expert, is joining us on the show. Major General Rajan Kocchar, defense expert, also with us on the program. General Kocchar, I will begin with you. Well, strategic vulnerability and strategic dependence is something that India has always sort of tried to off-balance when it comes to our relationship with Russia. How important is it to continue to engage with Russia, considering the fact that there are forces at work at this point in time, and I mean the Americans and to some extent the European Union as well, who try to put India down, who try to condescend India for matters, such as human rights and democratic standards, which they themselves don't abide by. How important does this relationship become in light of all these differing opinions?
Thank you, Vineet. India-Russia relations are very, very vital for the sovereignty of our own country, because if I talk of the defense needs and for the armed forces, 65% to 70% of our legacy equipment is Russians. And during this Ukraine war, these spares were not forthcoming, so that there were a lot of talks with the Russians, and Russians have now expedited the supplies. There's 400 also, a very, very strategic air defense system which the Russians have given us. 3 squadrons are there with us, 2 more to come by the end of 2026. And there is a talk of the S-500 also. The next important aspect is when we talk about strategic partnerships and strategic relationships, we have to establish a mechanism in which we can start producing in our own country, and to that Russians are very open. And you are aware that AK-203 rifle is now being manufactured as a joint venture and joint collaboration with the Russians. We have a nuclear submarine program also going into it, and the Russians are also open to start this manufacturing or the shipbuilding industry of India within India. So when you see these kind of overtures being made by Russia, and when you don't see a similar kind of action being taken by the United States, because we boast of a very, very close and a robust relationship with the United States also. But we have not seen United States forthcoming into India in establishing transfer of technology and joint ventures, which I think the Russians are open to. So I think this relationship has stood the test of time. If you remember the 7th Fleet 1971 war, how the 7th Fleet was prevented from coming into the Indian Ocean. So we have a lot at stake with the Russians now, and especially now with the energy requirements. Almost 40% of our energy requirements are being met by Russia. In the last 2 years, there has been a significant shift towards Russia. And one more important aspect is the Chennai-Vladivostok maritime corridor, which has been established with the Russians now, and it has slashed the shipping time to only 24 days now. So there is a very strong linkage, I would say. The recent maritime exercise, Indra 2025, with the Russians also, was a great step in trying to understand the strategic equipment which the Russians have and the equipment which India has. So I see a great value in this relationship, and especially now when the tariffs have become an issue, we are looking for other areas of cooperation with Russia. And I'm sure when Prime Minister Modi has a discussion with Putin, it will you cover these aspects. And also the Russian president is visiting India in December. You see, on one hand, president of our country, president of a country confirms his visit to India. On the other hand, we have Trump, cancelling his Quad visit to India. So, where does that lead us to believe that who's our friend and who's not our friend? So, this geopolitics, I know, will keep on changing. It's very, very dynamic. Uh, Today, with the Trump, things are different. Tomorrow, it may be a different story. But at the same time, we have pursued a policy of strategic autonomy, as the ambassador was also mentioning. It's very, very important to maintain a very, very robust relationship with Russia. And I, having served in the army, I can tell you, I have interacted with the many, many Russian officers. We have got a very strong bonding with them, a strong understanding with them. Strong layers of friendship have been established over a period of time, and Russia has stood by us all the time. And one last point is that considering what is now happening with China, because there is a thaw in the relationship, I feel China also wants to come closer to India. We need to be very, very careful, of course. But Russia is going to be one neutral force which is going to ensure this China-India getting together is facilitated because it is in Russia's interest. Because Russia would like to see this South Asian region uh, more inclined, where India is more inclined towards China rather than the US. So now all these equations are playing on, because the Russians also sense an opportunity now that they can bring closer their relationships closer to India, and China is also seeing an opportunity now. So I'm reminded of Sun Tzu, which he said, and it's still relevant today, that chaos presents a number of opportunities. So there is a chaos right now, and a number of opportunities are coming India's way, and India has to be very, very alert, very, very resilient to make use of these opportunities which we are getting now, because we may not get these opportunities again. So in the end, I would like to reiterate that our relationship with Russia are extremely vital to the strategic interest of our country.